So, this is going to be my final thoughts for the Legion for the PTB. They might change how they work for the full release, but until then, these are my thoughts and changes that could help the Legion in the future, hopefully. First, I love the design. It's cool, and I love the weapon, and it's a really nice design. I love the gender switching. It's really unique, and I really love it. Now, as for the power, I'm not that impressed. The Legion runs at 110 movement speed. That's never going to change. It's never going to be 115. We asked that for the Spirit, and it didn't happen. What they did was just make changes to the power, which really helped. The devs decide if a killer should have 115 or 110 base movement speed based on the idea that players should constantly use the power, how much that power needs to be relied on for the killer to really work. Hag can lay down traps and set up and stop loops. And the Hag's a good killer. The Huntress can chuck hatchets at your face and from across the map, injuring you and downing you. The Nurse blinks. She literally ignores walls, pallets, and windows. Spirit is the queen of mind games. Survivors can't see her, and she can't see them. But if the player knows how to listen and track survivors, then it's just a bloody massacre. Now we come to the Legion. They can run fast, vault pallets and windows. Then, when hitting a survivor, they inflict the deep wound effect. They can also see survivors who don't have the deep wound effect. Here's the problem. Mending is easy and isn't considered a healing action. Then the deep wound timer doesn't count down during chase, and hitting a survivor who is already deep wounded will consume the power bar entirely. Luckily, hitting survivors who don't have the deep wound will power up the power bar again, giving them another chance to hit the survivor, so on and so forth. Now the Legion really shines when the survivors are very close to each other, giving the Legion the chance to hit one and then go after the others to just get them all into that inflicted deep wound state, inflicting some pressure, but that's only if they're in a group or close together so that he can see them and get to them in time. Okay, I mentioned that. So after hitting a survivor, the Legion will get stunned, giving the survivor a chance to run away and escape and lose the killer, giving the scratch marks a chance to disappear, because while the Legion is using his power, they cannot see scratch marks, which is another problem, but that's probably going to stay, like how Spirit can't see survivors. So it's possible just to lose survivors easily, and then the survivors get the chance to mend themselves and then just move on with their day, not having to worry. Now it doesn't always happen, like you won't always lose a survivor, but it definitely does occur kind of often-ish. Okay, anyway. Now I'm coming to changes. Changes that I think could help the Legion. Now I don't know how broken these changes would make the Legion. It's just a nice little thought to have, or something that could help spark an idea to help the Legion be a bit better. Okay, so first, make mending a healing action so that Nurse's calling can actually see the survivors. Right now, mending isn't considered a healing action, so you can't see them with Nurse's calling, which makes no sense if snapping out of it is considered a healing action and you're not really touching or healing a wound. You're like mentally fixing your brain, I guess, kind of. With deep wounds, you're literally recovering from pain, so you should be able to see it. Then mending should have skill checks. Now it's a small change, and hardly anyone actually misses skill checks, especially in the high ranks, but it can happen. It's just a nice little change to give survivors more points for just hitting the skill check. It's just an extra nice little points to help in the long run. And if a survivor does mess up a skill check, it'll give the killer a chance to find them again. Just a nice little thing to do. Now, this is the change that I really hope happens, but how they're gonna balance it is entirely if they want to even go with this idea. But anyway, I think that the timer, the bleed out timer, should go down while in chase. Because right now it doesn't go down while you're in chase. You can hit them again after you've already inflicted deep wound, cutting a small chunk of it, and then getting stunned. And then you lose your whole power bar. And if you lose them, they still have a good amount of bleed out timer to mend themselves. So it's not that hard, and you only really get to hit them once after you've inflicted it. So, this could be kind of broken. Because if you don't lose the survivor, then that timer, because right now, when the chase is broken, the timer goes down at a very nice speed. It's an okay speed. It's more than enough to really find a nice spot and just mend yourself. So maybe what they could do is increase the timer for the bleed out if it does go down while in chase. That way, survivors have more time to lose the killer, giving them the chance to mend themselves, and it applies more pressure to the game. Both players know that if the survivor doesn't lose the killer, then they are going down. It's not a matter of if, it's when is that timer going to go down. It will give good pressure and really make that power worth it, because killers that run at 110 movement speed need to have powers that are really worth it. Again, Hag, Huntress, Nurse. Nurse runs at, what, like 93%? It's not even 100. Survivors run faster than her. So it needs to be strong. It needs to, well, not strong, it needs to be good enough to really help the killer. And right now the Legion's power doesn't really help because they get stunned. They can't actually down the survivor while in that state unless they charge up that power and hit them over and over and over again, which shouldn't happen because it takes like three or four hits for them to go down if you're just going to hit them while they're deeply wounded, and not just a regular smack upside the head, 110 movement speed, oof. So the bleeding out timer going down would really make his power worth it, because it's not worth it right now. And sure, he's kind of fun right now, which is the idea that the devs have when making a killer. Is the killer fun? Will players have fun going against? Will players have fun playing as this killer? Is it fun? And fun changes depending on the person. Not everyone has the same idea as fun that everyone should understand. My version of fun could be different from your version and the dev's version. I have fun knowing that I'm using a power that really helps me in knocking down survivors. I don't always have to get a 4K. I don't always have to get 3 kills. I could get 1 kill and be happy if another survivor was close to death at least. And having fun, you know, having little characters, like when I play Clown, I laugh like he kinda does, or Hag, I sound sometimes like a granny just wanting to slap the kids, and Freddy is just like, you know, he has this whole like survivors are his children, so kinda like that little whole thing. I don't have too much fun playing the Legion during the PTV. Now, I have seen good Legions, like, they did pretty well, but that was, I hardly ever saw that. It's not that hard to survive against the Legion, and it's hard to really get those kills as the Legion. Now, I understand that a lot of players didn't save up blood points, so they don't have the best perks for them right now. So my thoughts could entirely be wrong right now. But I did save up blood points, and I'm just saying what I've seen, because I've seen streamers and other YouTubers play Legion, play against Legion, and they've survived pretty easily and struggled to really get those kills. So those are mainly my thoughts on this killer. As of now, they might change them before full release, and the changes might not be anywhere near what I think about, but those changes could help the killer in the long run. Kind of like what they did for Spirit. Small little changes that made all the big differences for her gameplay. Because right now, the Legion's power isn't really worth it. It's not good. Getting that first hit in is always nice. It's a nice quick way to get that hit in, ignoring the pallets, like not having to waste time breaking them and just vaulting them. It's always funny to see the survivors kind of panic a little. It's like, oh no, he can vault.
I'm so dead.
But not really, because if you're already in deep wound, he's gonna get stunned. You have a chance to run away. Just don't run into him. I see a lot of like survivors after he gets stunned, they just run back to him. I don't understand that. What are you doing? But those are my thoughts. And what do you guys think about these changes? Are they too broken? Like, is that bleed out timer being increased but go down during chase too broken, or is it a good idea? What do you think about the killer? Do you think this killer is good, or do you think this killer is weak? Do you think I'm not seeing something that this killer actually can? Because I do know that he really does, like, you know, show a lot of chances to be strong when the survivors are close to each other, but there's always Survive with Friends saying, oh, the Legion's here, or just like communicating to each other, talking about where the Legion is, what to do, what's going on. Survive with Friends wrecks this killer, absolutely demolishes him, her, them. So, leave a comment on your thoughts on the killer. Are they strong? Are they weak? Are my changes broken, or am I missing something? And with that, that's gonna be the end of this video. Just my thoughts on it, on the PTB. Love the changes that they're doing for the PTB, and that will be implemented into the game when all of this is, like, you know, live. So leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!